Greetings everyone. Today we'll be discussing about the program code research project which is entitled the Digital Library System. I'm Andrei Capoy together with my groupmates Elaine Batacan, Gabrielle Alcaria, KimJasper Cruz, Lawrence Bautista, Balbero, Nathaniel Boreta, Paolo Balancio, Pauleen Balean, and Ron Bunao. So let's proceed with the description of the code. This Java program serves as a simple library management system developed in the Lab Proj class within the project demo package. So basically, it provides functionality for managing book inventories and tracking borrowed books. The system utilizes a 2D array to store books and details about up to 100 books, with each book described by 5 attributes: the title, ID, author, genre, and the number of copies in stock. And another 2D array, which is implemented in a code, borrowed books keeps a record of borrowed books including the book ID, borrower's name, and the date of borrowing. At the start, the system is preloaded with 10 sample books. So, the program's core logic resides in the main method, which continuously displays a menu of options to the user. These options include add book, inserts a new book into the inventory, view book, lists of all books along with their details, update book, which modifies the existing book in the array, and delete book removes a book from the inventory, borrow book registers a book as borrowed, reducing its available count. Return book records the return of a borrowed book, restoring its availability. Lastly, the exit, which terminates the program itself. The menu operates in a loop, and users can perform these tasks until they choose to exit the system. So input validation is implemented in this program code to ensure that the user gets to input again if the user inputs a wrong integer or wrong choice.
The scanner object facilitates menu interactivity with user input. The getValidInteger input function handles input validation, guaranteeing that the user selects a valid menu item from 1 to 7. The program follows modular design principles with each menu choice corresponding to a different method, such as add book, view book, and etc. However, the implementation of these methods are not included in this except the system continues to run until the user selects the exit option.
Today, I'll be discussing the add book. The add book method allows the user to add new books to a system. It starts by prompting the users to enter the book's details. The method ensures that the entered book ID is unique and not empty. Once validated, the user is asked to input the book's title, author's name, genre, and quantity. These details are then stored in a designated area, which is a race book at an index determined by the current number of books. After storing, the book count is increased to reflect the addition of the new book. The method concludes by confirming the successful addition of the book. And that's all in the add book, and let's proceed to the view.
Greetings everyone, I'm Pauleen Balean and I'm here to explain the view books feature of our digital library management system. This feature is essential because it allows user to see all the available books in the library along with the details. These details include the following: the book ID, the title, the author, the genre, and the quantity. Let me explain how this works. First, the book array is initialized in the program. For testing purposes, we pre-filled it with dummy books, dummy data that contains details for 10 books. The array can hold up to 100 books, but for this demonstration, we're working with the 10 entries. When the user selects the View Books option, the View Book method runs. The first thing it does is check if there are any books available by validating the book count variable. If book count is 0, it displays a message, no books available. Otherwise, it moves on to display the books. The output is formatted like a table with columns for book ID, title, author, genre, and quantity. These details are printed row by row using a loop that goes through the books array. Each book attributes are retrieved using its position in the two-dimensional array. In summary, the View Books functionality ensures users can easily browse all available books in the library.
Blessed day, sir. So, this is another part of crude books, which is update book. So, the update book method is designed to update the details of a book stored in array called books. When this method is called, mag-input si user ng book ID niya using the get none empty input method. Sinusure nito na hindi empty or blanco. The provided book ID ay ginagamit para hanapin ang index ng book sa array through called find book index by ID method. If the return index is -1, it means walang book with that ID na nahanap. So mag-flash a screen na saying na book not found is displayed and the process terminates. If the book is found, the user is notified that the book details will be updating using its ID. Mag-aas ang program kay user to input new details including the book's title, author's name, genre, and also the quantity. So these inputs are collected using another get none empty input and get positive integer input para to ensure the data is valid and appropriate. So, next, once the new details are gathered, the array element at the located index. So, gumamit kami ng close and open parentheses. So, nilagay namin doon is yung books, then yung bracket. Sa loob niya ay book index. So, is updated with the new values. So, each piece of data ay nilalagay as a string in the array, including the quantity, which is converted from the integer using string value of quantity. So, pag gagamit tayo ng string sa paghahanap ng quantity, gagamit tayo. Okay, ko-convert natin siya using string that value of quantity. So, kung int naman, pwede natin siyang gamitin as int value of quantity. So, finally and lastly, a message stating book details updated successfully. So, mag-flash siya sa screen. Ang sinasabi ay book details updated successfully. Para alam ng user na maayos at nakapag-update ng maganda yung mga book details na inilagay niya at in-update niya. So yun ang update book sa crude book. So thank you so much and that's all.
Greetings everyone, I'm Lawrence New Year's Bautista. Let's go to the final part of the crude operations, which is delete book or the deletion of the book. This will only happen if the user prompt a number 4 at the console, and when that happens, the number 4 or case 4 at the switch case will be executed and will call the method name call delete book. The method will now operate and the system will have to ask the user to enter the unique book ID that they want to delete. And in this section, we have two validations. The first validation is that the user will have to put something at the console, and in this validation will happen by calling the method name that stream name non-empty input. Inside this method is a do-while loop, and it will continue to run or loop until the user already input something at the console. The second validation is that the unique book ID should be already in the library. This validation will happen by calling the method name find borrowed index by ID. Inside this method is a for loop that will continue to run or loop until the system found a book ID that is similar to what the user prompted at the console. And if there's a similar book ID, the system will give a notification that the book is already deleted at the system. If the book ID is not on the library, the system will go back to where the user have to choose an action again or have to choose between number 1 to 7.
Hi guys, I'm KimJasper Cruz and I will explain how borrow book method works in our system. So this method allows a user to borrow a book from the library system. It followed this step. Get a book ID from the user. The user is prompted to input a book ID. This input must be a non-empty, which is handled by the getNonEmpty input method. Find the book in the inventory. It uses find book index by ID to locate the index of the book in the books array. If the book is found, find book index by ID returns -1 or -1. Check book availability. If quantity of books is 0 or less, the system notifies the user that the book is out of stock and exits. Get borrower's name. If the book is available, the borrower's name is requested, ensuring the input is not empty. So, update book inventory. The quantity of the book is reduced by 1 in the books array. Record borrow book. The borrow books array store details about the book borrowed, book, its ID, the borrower's name, and the book's title. And confirm success. A message is displayed confirming the book was borrowed successfully. Next is find borrowed index by ID method. So this method is search for a borrowed book in the borrowed books array using book ID. So iterate book borrowed iterate over borrowed books. The method loops through the borrowed books array up to the borrowed current count of book borrowed. Match book ID. If a book with the given book ID is found, the method returns its index. Return not found. If no match is found after checking all the borrowed books, it returns -1 or -1.
Dangal greetings. My name is Ron Rupert Bunao. I'm going to discuss the code part that we have made, which is the return book and find return book. Number 1, get book ID. It helps prompt the user to input the ID of the book they want to return. So, if I had a Harry Potter book, I will need to input its ID so it can be processed in the system. Then number 2, check borrowed status. It helps verify if the book is in the borrowed list. If not, it displays a message and exits. This sector of the code will help verify if the book is in the borrowed list. If not, it displays a message. So for example, that Harry Potter book that I have, if it is not in the borrowed list, it will display a message saying that it is not in the borrowed list and will exit the loop. Next, number 3, check library records. It helps confirm that the book exists in the library records. If not, it displays a message and exits. Same as number 2, but it confirms that the book do exist in the library record or in the system. And if it is not existing, it will display a message that says that the book does not exist and will exit the loop. Then nextly, number 4, remove from borrowed list. This sector of the code help the book that was borrowed and returned to be removed from the borrowed list. And also it helps remove the book from the borrowed count. So for example, that we have 20 books that we have borrowed. If that Harry Potter was returned, then the system processes it. It will help that book, the Harry Potter book, to be deleted from the borrowed list and the number of the books to be decreased from 20 to 19. Then lastly, the success message. It helps display a confirmation message that after the book is successfully returned. So that success message shows that the process has been made successfully, that the book was returned to the system or the library system.
Well, greetings everyone. My name is Paolo Balancio, and I am here to present our code and the outcome. And I am here with Rafi Angelo Balbero, who is going to explain the code.
The main method will serve as the entry point of the program. It will display a menu-driven interface for library management, and it will loop until the user select the exit option. If the user choose the add book function, it will prompt the user to input details for a new book. It also ensures that the book ID is unique. Once done, it confirms if the book is successfully added or if there was an issue with the input. If the user selects the view book function, it will display all books currently available in the library. If no books exist, it will display no books available. If the user selects the update book function, it will allow the user to update details of an existing book by entering its book ID. Then the user can update the title, author, genre, and quantity. Then it will confirm whether the book was successfully updated or if the book ID was not found. If the user chooses the delete book function, it deletes a book from the library inventory by book ID. Then it will display if it's a success or an error message if the book ID was not found. The user selects the borrow book function. It will allow the user to borrow a book by entering book ID. Then it the quantity of the borrowed book and add the borrowed book details such as borrower's name and title. Then it will confirm if the book is borrowed, or it will provide an error message if the book is out of stock or not found. If the user chooses the return book method, it allows the user to return a previously borrowed book by entering its book ID. Then it will restock the quantity of the books and removes the entry from the borrowed books. Then it will confirm if the return is successful, or it will display an error if the book was borrowed. And if the user chooses the exit function, the program will terminate and display a farewell message. That's all. Thank you.